I'm John Demeter. I'm here with Greg Campbell. You should have a good game here today, Greg.
Yeah, really looking forward to this championship game, rematch from a game earlier in the tournament that Grammar had won. And I think these teams are fairly familiar with each other. And we're looking for a 1-2-3 finish in the Coal Bowl with Nova Scotia teams after Beck won the consolation game earlier this morning.
Yeah, congratulations, Greg. A nice finish for Beck this week after a great showing this week. A tough loss last night against the Riverview Royals that we see here. But always nice to finish with a medal.
Absolutely.
You see the Griffins get into their half-court offense here. A real tough team out of the Halifax League. And Riverview able to create a turnover here. O'Rourke doing the dirty work as he normally does. And the Royals push the basketball. Tunnicliffe gets a look. Ball heads into the corner. Kicked out to Tunnicliffe, who gets a look at three. Just off a little bit. That's their game though, Greg.
Yeah, they live and die by the three, and they've shot well all week.
And Halifax Grammar gets on the board. Finn Larkin with a baseline drive. A little too easy if I'm Riverview. Those types of hoops you don't want to be giving up. You want to make Grammar earn every hoop they get. O'Rourke with the ball down low. He's their sort of inside factor. Riverview into a short shot clock. And Quirk with a difficult left-handed shot that goes wide. And Lydell Husbands takes the ball up the floor, gets into the paint. Ball gets kicked out and moved around. Three-point shot just off the mark.
Yeah, and Ryan Monroe just won the three-point contest, so you figure he's pretty warmed up from the three.
Crocker can't hang on to the basketball. Grammar has some real solid defense. I've been watching them the last few days, and they're pretty locked down. They're tough to really move the ball against. And we see two by Ethan Marshall Harris, a huge body inside. He's actually deceivingly big. I was standing next to him before. He is a really big guy.
He is a big boy. And, of course, him and Ryan Monroe were both starters on the Nova Scotia provincial team this year. And they went to nationals together, so they're familiar with each other. They actually missed Marshall Harris earlier in the week. But we have an injury with Grammar. It was Ewan Bridie with a shoulder injury, so he's out of the starting lineup. So one starter out, one starter back in for the Griffins.
Yeah, one of their strengths is their depth. So I don't see that being a huge issue for them today. But who knows? As the game wears on, fouls start to pile up. You never know; it might become an issue. And Riverview has yet to get on the board. Ball goes inside to O'Rourke and works hard and gets two. He's not the guy that everybody looks to for scoring, but I think he's key to their success.
He's really the heart and soul of their team, and he doesn't get enough credit for all the work that he puts in.
A lot of stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
Absolutely.
But he's always doing the dirty work inside. And a three-pointer from Finn Larkin. He's inside and out for Halifax Grammar early on. We have a 7-2 lead for Grammar. Riverview doesn't want to get behind here. It'll be tough for them to come back. They want to make sure that they're scoring consistently to stay on pace. And another turnover. Grammar gets out and runs, and Husbands with the easy two. And Riverview's going to want to settle down here and get a good look and try to at least get a shot on this possession. A couple of possessions where they didn't get a shot up and they just turned it over. So
it looks like Riverview's in their flex offense now. It's traditional offense ran by Riverview. I believe every Riverview player learns that at birth.
Yeah, I'd say about 30 years of flex at that school. And they get a good look, but it's just off, so Grammar looking to run their half-court offense. Swinging the ball around, looks at it looking inside to Marshall Harris.
Riverview having just a little bit of trouble settling in on offense.
And Marshall Harris is able to finish with contact. He is a handful down low.
He's a handful, and the foul was on Corson O'Rourke, number 15 for the Royals. And I'm really looking forward to that matchup between him and Marshall Harris today.
And Riverview doesn't want to get into foul trouble. They tend not to go to their bench too much. They probably play 6, maybe 7, Greg, usually.
Yeah, they play a few extra against Beck, and that's just because of some familiarity and some matchups. But typically when they're in a game like this, they normally go 7 deep tops.
So foul trouble would be definitely something that they're going to want to stay away from.
Absolutely. And Riverview are very, very disciplined on defense, and they do run multiple defensive sets. Pretty easy for the coaches to communicate that with hand signals. So we'll see if we get a change from the Royals on defense on the next possession.
So they're into their flex offense again, and Crocker gets a look, and there's going to be a foul on the floor. It's going to be on Lydell Husbands. He's got a little bit anxious there on that shot. He got in the air.
Josh Crocker shot the ball exceptionally well this week.
He's quite a good player. Riverview has, if I'm not mistaken, Greg, you would know better than me, three players that made this coming summer's under-17 provincial team.
That's correct. And Mitchell Mercereau and Colby Tunnicliffe being the other two, along with Josh Crocker.
Three real strong. There's O'Rourke doing what he does best, getting an extra possession for Riverview. Crocker getting into the lane, into the paint, and finishes a tough hoop with his left hand. Riverview needed a score there.
Riverview showing a little bit of ball pressure here.
A little high trap, but a good job getting the ball inside to Marshall Harris, but he can't finish.
And you will see Riverview ball trap on screens, on ball screens. You'll also see them go under on one side of the floor as well.
Mercereau on the last possession goes end-to-end for an easy two, and those are the ones that Riverview needs. A couple of easy ones here and there because they're going to struggle. It's going to be challenging to get baskets, so it's good to get a couple of easy ones from time to time as well.
Absolutely. A few easy baskets will help them settle in nicely on the offensive end.
We see number 23, Jonah Crowther, entering the game for Halifax Grammar School, and again, this is one of their strengths that we're going to see today is the fact that they can go to their bench a little more so than most other teams can. A very deep, strong team. And Tunnicliffe goes baseline but gets blocked, but they're going to keep possession as the ball went out of bounds. Our officials today are Dale Farish, Paul DeBailey, and Tyler Matheson. Three, in my opinion, real strong officials.
Absolutely. Dale coming over from Charlottetown PEI, Paul from Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Tyler's a hometown boy.
Yeah,
former Coal Bowl champion.
He is, and a player that you and I coached for a few years. Was actually one of those X-factor players. As we see, Husbands gets into the lane with ease and finishes for two, and we have a 14-6 score. Riverview doesn't want to let this get away, so they're going to really need to settle down and get back on defense. Nice pitch pass to the corner for Tunnicliffe, who can't finish. And it's going to be Grammar ball. Grammar again going to their bench. Number 15, Ian Keefe. Number 11, David Waller, entering the game.
And as we mentioned earlier, Riverview is yet to go to their bench, so the same starting five still on the floor for the Royals.
Right, which is, I think, as expected. We're not going to see them go to their bench too much. I think probably only as needed, considering fouls. Josh Crocker with a fantastic defensive play there. Goes end-to-end and into the corner, kind of assessing what he has, and a kind of a pitch bounce pass into the weak side corner for Mitchell Mercereau, but he can't finish.
Grammer's really strong on the boards.
And another 2 points. This time it's Oscar Brown. And Grammar with an early 10-point lead. Not the start Riverview wants, but Crocker answers immediately with a tough two in the lane.
Crocker is really putting the Royals on his back offensively.
Yeah, they're going to need offense from other players, though. I expect Grammar to adjust and focus on him a little more. So players such as Mercereau and Quirk, and as we see Ryan Monroe, the three-point contest winner from just a few moments ago, gets on the board with his first three. He's a guy you want to make sure you give him only contested shots. As
muffed handoff on the wing.
Another easy, a steal and a two for Grammar. Jonah Crowther scoring, and Riverview taking their first time out. They need to talk things over as they're facing an early 13-point lead, not the start they wanted.
No, and the Royals they're looking a little bit shocked in the moment here. Looks like Coach Dave Abua is gonna try and make some adjustments.
Yeah, he's got to settle them down. They a couple of turnovers early that have led to layups for Grammar, and again, those are the points that you can't afford to be giving up because Grammar are good enough as it is. When you're back on defense, you don't want to be giving up easy layups. You want to make sure that you're getting a shot on every offensive possession and not turning it over without getting a decent look at all.
That's right. The turnovers are really uncharacteristic for Riverview. They usually take care of the ball quite well, and I can attest to that from last night's game.
They do, but I'd also say that it's not every day that they're playing against a team the caliber of Halifax Grammar School, and their defense is pretty tough. They get in the lanes, they put lots of good ball pressure, and you have to really be poised, you have to be patient, you have to make sure that you make the right decisions. And as we see that timeout coming out here, Grammar comes into some full court run and jump, and Riverview's able to swing the ball out, and they get the ball up the floor. And Tunnicliffe with the basketball out on the perimeter spins into the lane with his left hand and just misses it off the back of the rim. Grammar gets out and runs, pushing the ball. As we see Josh Crocker get a hand there and knock the ball out of bounds to sort of disrupt that transition offense at least.
And you look for the seal. They're going to try and bring Monroe baseline. They'll come back and pin screen for him. I've seen Grammar run this play a few times this week.
I think any clean look for Monroe has got to be scary for Riverview.
I would think so.
And we get a long two by Dylan Quirk.
Showing some signs of life down in the corner jump shot.
Grammar gets into their offense and a seal inside and a kind of an awkward finish there. Some contact down low, but no foul. Riverview looking to see if they can get another hoop here to get this under 10 points. And a pitch into the corner for another good clean look by Dylan Quirk, but he can't hit.
Riverview's really falling back into the defensive set here. They're not pressuring the ball as they typically do. And that's leaving Monroe open for a three. Forcing O'Rourke stealing the board. And here's Josh Crocker coming up the wing.
Crocker gets into the lane for a shot that he's been making early in the game, but those are tough ones, and they're gonna need to get better looks.
Mercereau with some strong defense baseline. Mercereau is really the glue that holds that team together. And he's often, he can score 4 or 5 points in a game and be the best two-way player on the floor.
Absolutely. Good defense, just better offense. A real tough finish by Oscar Brown. Athletic finish.
And you wonder how Riverview can play their starters so long, and these kids are in fantastic shape. And players like Mitchell, they're so disciplined on the defensive end to be able to just go up and go stay vertical and challenge at the rim without fouling.
And Riverview looking to get a stop here, but a pitch out for three. Jonah Crowther for three, and a quick steal and another shot at the buzzer, but that doesn't go. But at the end of the first quarter, Riverview's in a little bit of a hole here, down 26-10, down 16 early, not the start they wanted. And they're going to need to find an answer to this early barrage.
Yeah, and it's tough for Riverview. Their strength really is their guard play, and they like to. I think Riverview probably plays their best when they're playing a full 94 feet, picking up early. However, Halifax Grammar School, they play in that Metro League in Halifax, and they're used to that kind of pressure. They see that from teams like Dartmouth and Citadel on a regular basis. So, it'll be interesting to see if Riverview can force Grammar into some tough decisions and maybe get some turnovers and get this game back to single digits before the half.
For sure. I'm interested to see if Riverview coach Dave Abua has anything up his sleeve that we haven't seen yet that he may have been saving for a game like this.
I think they used everything he had up his sleeve last night against us. But they've got lots of, they have versatile players, and they do have some half-court traps they'll use, and they've got a zone press as well as a man press. So it'd be interesting to see if they switch it up a little bit and try to keep Grammar on their toes and maybe force a few turnovers.
Absolutely. Before we head into the second quarter, I'd like to give a shout out to former Riverview Royal player and Coal Bowl player David Burns, who is at home in Humboldt, Saskatchewan, watching right now with his daughter Charlie. David, the son of former legendary Riverview coach Billy Burns.
Billy Burns, esteemed Boston Red Sox fan. I haven't seen him wear anything but a Boston Red Sox logo all week.
So David home watching his former high school team in the Coal Bowl final for the first time in quite some time. They're looking to get back into this game. And they have a good start here with a good defensive possession. Looking to get out and run. Grammer's getting back. I
believe Dave, after his time with St. Thomas University, jumped into the St. Agnes Men's League in New Waterford. He was almost a local New Waterford boy for a while there, honorary.
Yeah, him and his brother were regulars, and it probably took that time at St. Thomas to work his way up to the level to be able to compete in that league.
I think so, yeah. It was good. Good to see them. Good to hear from Dave.
Grammer gets on the scoreboard first in the second quarter. Riverview looking to see what they can find here, and Josh Crocker with a three that is short front rim. Perhaps some fatigue showing for Riverview here with the missed jump shots. They are an outside shooting team, and fatigue can really have an impact on that sort of game. This being their sixth game in 6 days. It's not easy, and it's not something any of these players would be used to.
Yeah, and John Gee, you and I know this from experience, having coached this team together for, I think it was 9 seasons. And this tournament is a marathon, not a sprint. And you start to see some shots earlier in the week that fell for Riverview, or just a little bit the legs aren't there.
And being down doesn't help either, because there's that little bit of extra weight on your shoulders when you're playing from behind. But this game is far from over. We know that Riverview has quite a bit of talent.
And they can score in a hurry.
And this is the way to do it, actually. Dylan Quirk getting to the free throw line. Going to put hopefully some points up on the board for them with the clock stopped. And he makes good on the first of his free throws. But is off on the second. Grammer's out and running. Lots of ball pressure. We're going to get a foul on Mitchell Mercero. Coach Abua doesn't like the call, but that's only his first foul.
Once the call is made, I can assure you that veteran referee Paul DeValey is not going to change it. Corson getting down and dirty.
Grammer gets a drive right down the middle of the lane, but can't finish. They're going to turn it over and give Riverview another chance to get a few more points up on the board. We have an early 18-point lead for Grammer.
And you got to figure too, John Gee, that there's obvious an emotional letdown for Riverview after a big game last night, big win. And they played so well. And managing your emotions in Coal Bowl, getting ready for a game of this magnitude is tough as well.
It's as important as anything, really. And Riverview has quite a big cheering section here today, as expected.
As always, the Riverview parents, they show up. They've got their Royal shirts on, and they're loud. This gym was a split gym last night, even though the Bears, it was a distinctive home crowd advantage all week. With the 2K Breton teams going at it last night for the first time in Coal Bowl history.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was an exciting atmosphere.
Yeah, there was just as much noise on either end. So, hopefully the Royals, they can feed off this crowd a little bit, get on the adrenaline, and see if they can make a rush here before the end of the half.
So we have Lydell Husbands at the free throw line, missed his first as well as his second. So Riverview is going to look to continue their mini run that they have going right now. Colby Tunnicliffe for three,
Good
but that's off short. Corson O'Rourke into the lane, doing what he does with an offensive rebound and a foul, and he's going to shoot 2 free throws. And he has actually shot well from the free throw line this week.
Yeah, Corson's very effective from the free throw line, and he does have a mid-range jump shot, although a lot of teams don't respect it, but he seems to knock it down on a regular basis.
And as we say that, he's good on the first of 2. But he's off on the second. And Grammer gets out and run. But they missed the layup. And we're going to have an out of bounds off of Oscar Brown.
Did not get his feet back in before he touched that ball.
David Waller entering the game for Grammer. Again, they go to their bench, filtering guys on and off the floor, keeping guys as fresh as possible.
Waller's done a nice job all week. The backup point guard duties there. Handles the ball well and plays some tight defense. And again, you see the Royals scrambling, looking for some offense.
Mitchell Mercero with a tough hoop after another offensive rebound by Corson O'Rourke. We have Ben McDonald into the game for Riverview now. I believe it's the first time they've gone to their bench. A little bit of confusion on that out of bounds, but it's going to be Riverview ball. And they're actually, they've made a little bit of a run here, and they're going to try to continue this. O'Rourke with the ball up top, not his place, but he's going to pull up with the long 2. And it's just a little strong.
Almost right on cue.
Grammer looking to score. It's been a few minutes since they've had a field goal.
And a real nice screen.
And another strong finish by Ethan Marshall-Harris. He's not a guy you want to get in front of.
Yeah, I imagine it takes some work to get around a screen from a guy that size.
I think the key with him, especially with Riverview, is going to be to try to prevent him from catching it where he likes it. And we see a pass go off of the hands of Ben McDonald and out of bounds. And again, that's not the sort of possession that Riverview can really have.
That's correct.
Unforced turnover, really.
Popcorns for after the game.
But Ben McDonald redeems himself with a steal, which is what you like to see a player do, not get his head down and be frustrated by the turnover, but get back on defense and try to get it back. See a scramble on the floor. Tunnicliffe with a long 3. It's a bit strong.
Colby's still yet to hit from long range.
Proctor with the offensive rebound and the pull-up jumper, which is his bread and butter. And they cut the lead.
5 minutes with a 13-point deficit.
And they know that Riverview are an experienced bunch for how young they are. They play with so much poise. They understand that there's no 18-point shot, that they're going to have to chip away at this. Marshall-Harris with the ball where he likes it, but gets tied up. He can't finish. A really good defensive possession.
And it looks like Mitchell Mercero is hurt. He may turn an ankle. And that'll be a huge loss for the Royals if he can't go.
Mercero limping pretty clearly, and a near turnover.
Husbands with an athletic play.
Diving for the basketball. We have a little bit of a scramble going on here, but Proctor's able to find 2 points out of it all.
And all of a sudden, some life out of the Royals. We'll see how Grammer handles their first adversity of the afternoon.
Marshall-Harris with the ball at the top of the 3-point line, but a
beautiful
really nice back
screen.
cut by David, and a 2-point finish by David Waller off of that back screen. We knew that something different was going to happen there with Marshall-Harris with the basketball at the top of the 3-point line. We know that he's not typically an outside shooter.
Right, but showing some good vision there, hitting that backdoor cut.
Absolutely. So Mercereau takes a sub while
Dylan Quirk
back into the game, and
is back into the game.
Coach Abua has a chat with Mercereau. He's probably going to give him some time to have a little rest here and see if he can shake this off. He's absolutely necessary for Riverview to compete with this team. He's one of their best players. Quirk with the ball up top.
Short clock.
Drives strong and a nice left-hand finish, but
can't get it to go.
Goes a bit wide. Grammer pushing the ball. Lydell Husbands with the corner three, and it's good.
And we've seen that connection a lot of times this week, John Gee, between Husbands and Monroe.
Two very strong players. Tunnicliffe getting into the paint, finds O'Rourke down low, and draws the foul. And O'Rourke is going to go to the line for 2 free throws.
Well, it looked like Ian Keefe was going to be able to wait him out there, but Corson got up a little bit quicker. And the call goes his way.
O'Rourke is crafty. He plays bigger than he is. He is a big boy, but he plays much bigger than he is. He knows how to use his body. First free throw is good.
And it looks like another Riverview sub is going to check into the game.
Number 9, Gareth McKinnon. And O'Rourke makes the second free throw, and I believe he's going to get a little break. Well-deserved break for Corson O'Rourke. We'll see how Riverview...
17 straight minutes for O'Rourke.
But we'll see how Riverview can defend Grammer without O'Rourke's effort and size down low.
Big presence on the floor.
Husbands in the lane, a beautiful bounce pass.
So Marshall Harris is on the bench for the Griffins as well, so I think that's where David Buell wanted to try and get some rest.
We just saw Husbands with a real nice bounce pass to Ian Keefe for 2. And Tunnicliffe with the kick to McKinnon, who just entered the game, but his shot goes a little long.
Oh, Husbands on the brakes.
Husbands puts on the brakes, pulls up for 3, but that's a little short. And we're just at about 2.5 minutes remaining in the half. And Riverview is still hanging around. Crocker kind of bullying his way into the paint, but can't finish.
We've seen Josh Crocker hit that fadeaway jump shot at the free throw line quite a few times this week, and it seems like the Griffins were waiting for it. He did a clever little up and under play, but he couldn't get it to fall.
And it looks like Riverview is going into a bit of a zone here. A diamond in 1, perhaps?
Looks 2-3. McKinnon in a tough spot. Giving up quite a bit of size.
And Keefe draws the foul on McKinnon.
And Grammer looking much, much fresher.
Well, as we said, their strength is their depth. They've gone deep to their bench already, filtering guys on and off, staying fresh, with Riverview sticking with their main guys, which is fine. These players are very fit. They're used to playing major minutes. However, 6 games in 6 days is very challenging, and I think we're going to see Mercereau re-enter the game, give that ankle a test before the end of the first half.
Well, if you're the duo, the father-son coaching combination of Tim and Mark McGarrigle, you got to be happy with where you're sitting at going into the half at this point.
Absolutely. As Riverview with another uncharacteristic,
unforced turnover,
poor pass. But that's what ball pressure does to you, Greg, and that's what getting in the lanes does. The open passing lanes are not there that you tend to see often. Keefe with the ball high, that same backdoor play that we saw earlier from Marshall Harris, but Grammer not able to finish this time.
Couldn't get it to fall. Very quick, decisive backdoor cuts.
Tunnicliffe into the lane.
They'll get there.
For 2. I'm sure Riverview would like to see a little more offense from Tunnicliffe. It seems like Crocker and Mercereau, for the most part, carrying the bulk of the offensive load.
You know yourself, John, when a three-point ball isn't fouling, the quickest way that hoop starts to get a little smaller every time you shoot, the quickest way to open it up is just to get a layup and see the ball go through the hoop.
Absolutely. Tunnicliffe pulls up from
on cue.
Right on cue with your point being made. Tunnicliffe makes a tough layup in the lane and immediately comes back down and pulls up for a long three, which is just what the doctor ordered for Riverview right now. And Grammer looking to answer and can't. We're going to have a foul on the rebound here with about a minute remaining in the half. And we have a 12-point game. Riverview's going to look to cut this to a 10-point lead, which would be a great place for them. I imagine they would feel pretty good about a 10-point deficit going into the half.
Absolutely. Considering where they were at certain points in this game, with just under a minute remaining, if they can cut this to single digits, I think the mentality for those kids, it would go a long way for the second half.
And Riverview takes a timeout to give their players a much-needed rest. As we said, for the entire first half, most of their starters have played the bulk of the minutes, and I think we have a bit of a strategic timeout here to get them get them a rest.
It was actually they're actually saying that the timeout was called by Halifax Grammar.
Oh,
and it looks like Tim McGarrigle just wants to set up his approach to this zone offense or the zone defense that Riverview's thrown at them at the end of the half.
Interesting. It'll be interesting to see if Riverview changes their defense now to sort of match and stay ahead of the game.
I wouldn't be shocked, and I wouldn't be shocked to see on their next make if they throw a little bit of full court ball pressure on as well, just to try and mix things up as well and keep Grammar guessing.
It's never a bad idea to not allow the offense to remain comfortable with what they're running. We've seen Grammar run that backdoor play with their big up top a few times now, scoring on one of them, getting a real good look on the second, and just a sort of a missed layup on the second one.
That's right.
So I would be looking to change things up to not have them feel too comfortable, as we see Grammar picking up full court now, which is I'm sure what they were talking about in their timeout. It's a 2-2-1.
It looks like a 2-2-1 zone press, and they're denying the inbounder, and a turnover right away.
Immediately, and we have a foul. So we're going to see Jonah Crowther go to the free throw line to shoot two. Foul is on Josh Crocker. Just his first personal, Greg, and as we said earlier, for all of the minutes that these Riverview Royals play, they do a really good job staying out of foul trouble.
Very, very, very disciplined defense. And these kids they've been playing basketball all summer. Josh and Mitchell with Basketball Cape Breton, and of course Colby was a starter on the U15 provincial team. So these guys are no stranger to pressure situations and keeping their poise and their focus, especially on the defensive end.
And as we talk about this ability to stay out of foul trouble, Josh Crocker picks up his second foul, picks up two quick fouls all within 5 seconds or so.
That's unfortunate, going into the half with no fouls on your the player who's been leading you in scoring all tournament, and that's was one of the bright sides for the Royals, and now all of a sudden that advantage has been erased in a matter of seconds.
And he's got to be careful here not to pick up his third, which would be a real issue for them.
Real hustle on the boards from Grammar now. They're showing a lot of hustle to end the half.
Yeah, they're looking like they really want to try to build a bit more of a cushion here going into half, as we see Marshall Harris back down, just bully his way into the paint with a drop step and finish.
Colby Tunnicliffe stands his ground, but just not enough. Too big, too strong.
Marshall Harris is a handful for the biggest of players. And Husbands in the lane.
Can't get it to fall, but
he's going to shoot two. And another quick Riverview foul. This time it's on Tunnicliffe, his second.
Grammer's really flipped the script in the half here. Just when the Royals were looking like they were going to make a push and get it to single digits, Grammer's starting to open it up in the last minute of play.
Husbands is going to look to extend the lead. He's good on his first free throw. and the second.
Osmond's wearing a fresh pair of Paul George's PG2s, it looks like.
So we'll see if Riverview can handle this pressure. And it looks like they're going to get it over half with 7 seconds left in the half. Splits the defense, does a great job splitting.
And Merce back in the game for 2.
And Mercero with a 2 that they really needed. And as the horn goes, it's halftime with Halifax Grammar School 45 and Riverview 29. So we'll be back in 10 minutes with the third quarter. back, ready to start the second half.
So we had a little bit of excitement during the halftime show there. We had Callie Rankin was the winner of the half-court shot. She had Dylan Mezevy shoot for her. Of course, she made the layup and the free throw herself, and Dylan just missed a little left.
Maybe she should have taken the half-court shot herself.
Well, someone just passed me a hot dog.
I think they're his.
I'm not a fan of hot dogs myself anyway.
Nope, I don't think I'd eat one if you paid me to.
Well, one time when I was a kid, I think I ate about a dozen of them at one time, and I've never eaten one since.
You know what? I remember you when you were a kid and it showed. So Riverview looking to get back into this game, Greg. What do they need to do?
Well, talking to Riverview coach Liam Shaw during the halftime, he said, you know, they got out a little slow on the start and they just didn't hit shots. So I think they're looking to shoot their way back into the game.
Interesting. As we see Crocker get into the lane and kick it to the corner.
They seem to like the looks they got. They just really couldn't knock anything down.
But again, Greg, like we said earlier, I don't know that they're accustomed to the fatigue that they must be feeling right now.
That's right.
And I understand that the adrenaline is there. It's the championship game, and you know that might get them through. But sometimes you don't even realize the drain on your body, as we see.
The drain emotionally as well, John.
Absolutely. As we see Ryan Monroe knock down a 3 to extend the lead to 19.
And you know the struggles, the emotional letdowns after some of these games, win or lose. To try and motivate these players to be ready to play the next day is always a tall order. Which was very pleasant to see how our own Beck Bears responded this morning after a tough loss last night.
Crocker answers with a 3 of his own, but they're going to need to get stops as well as score. Husbands searching. The ball gets moved to the other side of the floor to the weak side and is tipped out of bounds. Going to remain Grammar ball with 12 on the shot clock.
So they're gonna adjust the shot clock here. Looks like they're gonna go to 9.
And we're ready to go. A lot of work for 1 second that they didn't need as Monroe knocks down another 3.
And that's the risk you take with running a zone out of a dead ball situation.
Yeah, Ryan Monroe would be a one-man zone breaker.
And they quickly go back to him on the inbounds plays, and he's very, very comfortable shooting that 3.
As we see Quirk with a little jumper in the lane that goes in and out. Monroe with another 3 that is off the mark. And Grammar looking to jump those passes up the sideline on every possession. Riverview has to be extra careful. As we see, Tunnicliffe is off the mark. And Husbands for 3.
Riverview really on their heels defensively. And it looks like they're going to come into the 2-3 zone. Grammar is just picking it apart with outside shooting. Nice hoop by Mitchell Mercer. Strong take with the left hand. It doesn't look like that ankle is bothering him.
No, he recovered quick from that. Luckily for Riverview, they're going to need him.
Similar instance happened with the Bears on Tuesday or Monday night. Morgan McIsaac sprained his ankle and staying in the game and toughing it out for a little bit. Just riding that adrenaline, but the next morning, those ankles swell up. You got to feel like Mercerol is going to be. We're going to have to look after that this week with regionals and playoffs coming up in the high school league.
Absolutely, and that's what Coal Bowl does to teams. It kind of grinds you down. And you have to recover quick because the most important games of the season are happening immediately following this tournament.
That's right. We know the emotional or the emotional attachment that the local team has to this tournament. But the teams from away really get caught up in the spirit of Coal Bowl, and everybody just is really out to win.
As Riverview knocks down a couple of free throws, we have an 18-point lead. As Riverview continues to try to battle back.
Grammer is very effective in this.
Moving the ball well, and Monroe for three again, but it's off the mark. Husbands kind of bullies his way into the lane with a nice little step under, but can't finish. Riverview looks to push. Mercero in the lane, and is going to go to the line for two. I believe this foul is going to be on Monroe, and it is.
And looks like Tim McGarrigle is going to bring some subs into the game.
And these are the points that Riverview needs. They need to capitalize on scoring with the clock stopped as they're playing from behind.
In Riverview, every possession, really, it's giving them a chance to rest.
For sure, absolutely. Mercero is good on the first. As well as the second. Husbands takes the ball before a little miscommunication on the entry pass into their offense. Marshall Harris looking for the ball inside. Off the screen and roll with Monroe, but can't finish. A little bit of contact.
Really bothered him on that challenge at the rim.
Tunnicliffe gets into the lane, a real nice dish off to O'Rourke, but he can't finish. A little bit of contact, but it's happening at both ends.
Back to back on both ends.
Oscar Brown pulls the trigger on the three, but it's off, and Riverview looks to get some of this score back, and a nice spin in the lane by Mercero, but can't finish. But Marshall Harris loses the handle on the rebound, and the ball goes out of bounds. And it's going to be Riverview ball under the hoop. Let's see what kind. I'm sure you're familiar with the sort of baseline out of bounds plays that Riverview runs. What can we expect here?
It looks like it's going to go back to Josh. There's going to be a pin down in the corner for him, very similar to the play Grammer runs.
Right on cue. You're a real Tony Romo here, Greg.
Yeah, I like to predict the future, John.
And Crocker gets closed out on, does a great job driving the ball and pitching it out to the weak side to Mercero for three.
And that's got to lift the spirits of the Royals here. Cutting the lead back to 13.
Absolutely. I'm sure they'd love to get a stop here and get a shot at cutting it to 10. We'll see if they can get that defensive stop they need.
And they get it.
They do. And the momentum seems to be swinging just a little bit. And Husband's going to take a seat and get a rest as David Waller enters the game for Grammer. As Coach McGarry
was going to show press.
2-2-1 pressure.
2-2-1.
Riverview does a much better job this time.
Well, Mercero
although he dribbles into the double team. Oscar Brown chasing that pass down is almost able to finish a real tricky layup there.
They're not out of the woods yet. Oh, one more pass. Monroe is open in the corner. And the lack of the extra pass is going to send Riverview back up to 4.
O'Rourke playing.
Looking to close it to 10.
O'Rourke playing point center.
Quirk's
in the lane, and we're going to have 2 free throws here. And we're going to see Dylan Quirk try to cut this lead.
And it's the first time we're seeing a little bit of fatigue on some of the Grammer players, John.
It's interesting, isn't it, how even though they're getting all kinds of rest on and off, they're getting worn down too. And you know what? despite the fact that they're able to go to their bench, it's also their 6th game in 6 days. And again, as we said, it doesn't matter how skilled you are. Nobody is used to this sort of a marathon basketball tournament.
That's right.
And you don't know how you're going to react to it until you're there. And we almost have another turnover, and it's going to remain Grammar basketball, but Riverview is really digging down on defense this time and at this point in the game. And Grammar, for the first time, actually looks a little rattled.
They do, and also to note that Grammar only has one starter remaining in the game at this moment, so it looks like they're trying to rest their horses for the stretch run.
Interesting. And that 3 is short.
And
O'Rourke rebound, and O'Rourke almost makes a beautiful
it still does.
pass. And
Crocker finish in the harm.
Tunnicliffe with an outstanding pass to Crocker, who finishes with contact.
And Grammar's looking for timeout.
And we now have this lead cut to 9 with a made free throw, potentially 8. Grammar has to talk about things. And really for the first time, we've seen from Grammar, it's really a lack of, like a loss of poise.
A little bit of loss of poise, a little loss of focus. It looks like they'll try and straighten things out and just get clear on assignments right now. It'll be interesting to see if Riverview switches things up a little bit as well.
Well, we have an opportunity. We'd like to say hello to Bruce and Carl Marsh, who are at home watching. A couple of the Waterford legends.
Yeah, really miss seeing Carl around the Coal Bowl this year. Carl's been a huge supporter of the Coal Bowl for years, and of course, we had the pleasure of coaching his grandson Ethan for years. So Carl was very closely affiliated with our team then, and I always appreciated the words of wisdom from Carl.
It was always great to sit down and talk to Carl.
He had great stories.
Sometimes it would be 5 minutes. Sometimes it would be 2 hours.
Most times 2 hours. But I remember the time we went to a grad party, John B, and we sat with Carl.
Yep.
And we must have sat there for close to 2 hours listening to stories about former athletes in Waterford, some of Carl's playing days back to St. Rex.
Absolutely. So we now have Josh Crocker to the free throw line, looking to make this an 8-point game all of a sudden, Greg.
The tides have shifted in favor of the Royals here. And the Riverview fans are alive as well, John B.
And the free throw is good. Let's see if Riverview can continue this run. Grammar has gone back to a few of their starters.
Yeah, Husbands is back in the game along with Monroe.
Husbands drives the ball left, baseline, but is cut off. Riverview's defense has picked up quite a bit as well, but a real tough hoop there in the lane by David Waller.
Yeah, and it looks like Grammar's going to keep a couple extra guards in just in case Riverview throws some pressure at them.
And Crocker gets into the lane, pitches it out.
Block on Quirk.
And a foul on Crocker, and that's going to be his 3rd, so it'll be interesting to see how Abua handles this.
That's a tough one. A great play by Ryan Monroe there, just getting the step on Josh and shielding with his body there to create that foul just outside near the Coal Bowl sign.
Yeah, I think we're looking at some high basketball IQ there, almost expecting the contact, knowing that he may draw a foul there.
Right, reminiscent of ourselves, John B.
Of course.
In the senior men's leagues.
And Waller for 3, and just like that,
Surgeons at a David Waller.
Grammar
Second half
comes up with a quick 5-point swing. A couple of turnovers by Riverview really hurt. And Ian Keefe.
That's a tough one there. Tunnicliffe left his feet on that pass. It's almost like Grammar was baiting that pass to the corner. But he hustled back, he just couldn't contest at the rim in time.
So we're back to a 15-point lead for Grammar with 2.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Grammar electing to keep this 2-2-1 press on, and they're denying the inbounders, making it pretty tough, but it's going to come back to Mercer here. And it looks like it's broken, they might get an easy hoop out of it.
They're able to get it over, but still troubled by the pressure.
And interesting there, you know, it's tough. Riverview couldn't capitalize there, but you saw 3 defenders on the ball trap. And usually when there's 3 defenders on one, that means we've got 4 on 2 on the rest of the court. It should be a hoop for the Royals, so missed opportunity there.
Tunnicliffe, gets into the lane and dishes it to O'Rourke, but O'Rourke gets bothered by the pressure, and then we have
great finish.
Ryan Monroe with a crafty finish at the rim.
Showing a little flash now. The confidence is coming back for the Griffins after this 2-1 press.
And the Royals are able to beat the pressure this time, not able to get an easy hoop out of it, unfortunately.
Mercer had some tough luck on the floater there. Shot he normally makes.
Riverview in desperate need of a stop. We're going to get a jump ball here, and
he's getting a little testy here.
Marshall Harris and O'Rourke going to battle here.
O'Rourke shakes it off. He's used to battling like that. I don't know if Marshall Harris is any stranger to it either.
Oh, he looks like a tough kid. Riverview looking to move the ball up the floor. Oh, a difficult pass.
A little bit of a scramble.
Risky. Crocker thinking about the three.
With the mismatch.
Decides to pull it.
The ball will go out of bounds.
I think we had the ball go off the.
Looked like it went up.
The strap on the upright, perhaps.
Looked like that. Well, basketball is a game of runs, and just when it looked like Riverview was going to close the gap there, all of a sudden, it's back to a 17-point lead for the Griffins.
And the Riverview support section is getting loud to try to motivate Riverview to not hang their heads, to remain poised. They've made a run already. They know they can do it again. Marshall Harris with the ball inside to Keefe. A little high-low action there.
Yeah, very nice high-low. And a crafty finish by Keefe himself.
A lot of these Grammar role players are so much more than that. They come off the bench and they're playing a role, but they're quite skilled as well. As Crocker finds his way to the hoop.
The depth is really proven to be a huge advantage for the Griffins here, especially towards the end of the third quarter.
The Griffins with the turnover. We have Riverview ball under their own hoop against this 2-2-1 pressure that we've seen. Riverview having a hard time getting the ball in, and they turn it over immediately. Keefe with the ball up top, gets it to Husbands. Husbands thinks about an entry pass to Marshall Harris, but they decide to reverse it, and it does end up with Marshall Harris passing it out to Husbands for three.
In the corner, just too much time for Husbands. Been knocking that shot down all
Great
week.
ball movement there, Greg.
Lead to 20.
Some great ball movement there,
and
Greg.
even more, and we could have showtime.
Keefe elects for an easy 2.
2
the
points
safe
is 2
thing.
points.
He knows this game is important and is going to risk a.
Yeah, he's playing well in the moment here, and he knows that a missed dunk attempt there, and Coach Tim McGarrigle would have him on the pine pretty quick. So
Tunnicliffe takes a 3 and makes it to make it a 19-point Grammar lead at the end of the third quarter. Riverview has some work to do, but we've seen them make a run, so we know that they're capable of it. It's challenging, though, when Grammar is so experienced and so poised, and they can just call a timeout and Riverview can come back out and make a run of their own.
Yeah, real nice adjustments by the coaching staff on Grammar there, and obviously putting that pressure on, and it bothered Riverview just when they were making their run. And you get the feeling, John Gee, that it's an uphill climb for the Royals. It's been that way all day, and you got to figure that they're trying to just manage the kids' attitudes now at this point, keep them focused, and try to stay in the game and keep this close.
Absolutely. And again, we know that Riverview are capable of hitting shots. They're an outside shooting team. If they can find a little bit of heat from the outside, the game could take a turn. It's going to be a challenge, but we know that it's possible. It's not as if it's one of those games where we know that it's not possible to happen. So we'll see if they can come out at the start of the fourth quarter. And
looks like the big worm, Robert Odo, is getting the Riverview fans pumped up.
Robert Odo showing some support for the other local entry.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing what the Spirit of Coal Bowl will do in the games just coming up to Coal Bowl between Riverview and Breton Education Centre. You know, we almost had fisticuffs on the floor between Robert and some of the other Riverview players, and now you've got Robert there cheering these kids on.
Yeah,
nice
it's pretty.
To see him getting the spirit.
It's pretty impressive. I got a message here from Coach Ronnie Shaw saying that he's real proud of the effort by the Royals this week, as he should be. Everybody's really proud of both local entries with outstanding showings this week, and Riverview have played very, very well this week.
They have played well, and they've played well going into the tournament as well. And we actually, Breton Education Centre played at Riverview in their gym just before Coal Bowl, and I think we had about a 14-point lead with just under 3 minutes remaining, and Riverview was able to make that up and win that game. So, you know, they can score points in a hurry. So if anybody's counting them out at home just yet, I would hold on to my hats. We could be in for an electric finish if Riverview can make a run.
Yeah, we're going to hope for an interesting finish here, as you said. The fact that Riverview were able to hit outside shots would mean that there is always that possibility of making a quick run. And we're underway in the fourth quarter.
It looks like Mercer is going to get a rest. Ben McDonald in. He's a very pesky little defender. Always hands on the ball.
And Oscar Brown gets into the lane like a pinball, gets bounced around there, and he's going to shoot two here. Foul on Ben McDonald. Brown is off on his first free throw attempt. Looking to make the second to make the lead 20. But he's off on that one as well. And it's going to be Riverview basketball, so we'll see what they have here. Grammer keeping the pressure on. And again, they struggle a little bit getting the ball in, but are able to reverse it. This pressure is causing some fits right now, but they're able to get it over.
Just avoiding the 8-second call. Big mismatch with
Crocker bullying his way into the lane, kicks it to McDonald
with the runner.
And it's long, but we may have a rebounding foul here, and I believe we do.
Yeah, we had a little mismatch there with McDonald had Marshall Harris dragged out to the three-point line there, and coincidentally brought him back into his house in the paint. And
I think we had a little bit of a product of Marshall Harris just being so big and strong that it looked
a
like
little worse than it was. Yeah.
So we'll see if Riverview runs that same play you mentioned before with the pin down.
It looks like it. They're going to come with Josh up to the top of the point, clear up for Corson O'Rourke.
It's back to
Crocker. They're just freestyling now, and this is where Crocker can be at his best.
And
Cork can't get it to foul.
Cork couldn't have really asked for anything better than that for an opportunity, but isn't able to finish. Sometimes that pressure on your hip is more bothersome than it seems. And Oscar Brown back into the lane as he did earlier. No call this time, though.
Roy tried to take a charge there.
And I think that was a good no call. And we're going to see if Riverview can figure this pressure out. They're having a real tricky time just getting the ball in.
Crocker avoiding the trap.
They're taking so much time in the backcourt. And Grammer's length up front is difficult. It's hard to see over these tall guards.
Well, against pressure like this that really jumps at the anticipation of each pass, a pass fake can be your best friend. It looks like Dylan Cork just learned that. We'll see if they can handle the pressure going forward.
So we have a foul on...
It might get out of hand towards the end, John D.
Yeah, a little foul on Ryan Monroe. It's only his second, though. Riverview gonna run some offense against some half-court defense. McDonald kind of stuck in the corner there, and it's gonna be a turnover and back to Grammer, looking to extend this 21-point lead.
And you wonder with Mercer on the bench, John Gee, if the Royals are looking forward to keeping him healthy for the remaining games, if they're going to rest him down the stretch here.
That's a good point. And O'Rourke tied up, and he's fouled. And on cue, here comes Mitchell Mercer, Greg, back into the game.
So our question is answered.
And really, he looks like he's moving okay. He may have just had a bit of a scare earlier.
Yeah, he certainly is moving much better than when he initially heard it.
Oh, tough pass. But Tunnicliffe is able to hold on with Grammer. Oh my Lord, what a
two-handed
fantastic defensive play by Marshall Harris.
It looks like Crocker will stroke the three. Got him on the pump fake.
Thinks twice about it. And turns it over to Monroe, who dishes
No look
it to
pass.
Husbands.
And Ryan Monroe is feeling it right now.
Riverview seems to be really struggling with this pressure.
Yeah, and it seems like defensively, Grammer has Riverview's tendencies. They've got them figured out now. The drive and kick. And with Grammer getting out in the passing lane, starting to get some tip balls, Riverview just is searching for an answer.
And another turnover to Monroe, who kicks it to Husbands, who's going to take the three.
And it looked good from our angle, John Gee.
It was straight on, just a little hard, little strong. Quirk thinks about a three and gets into the lane. I think he was looking for some contact there that he didn't get. And again, until you're playing against this Grammer team, it's hard to understand the length and athleticism when you get into the paint.
That's right. Quirk has a very quick first step, especially going left. And Marshall Harris just sagged off and waited for him at the rim. Pretty disciplined defense by the big man.
And the Grammer press still bothering Riverview as Ryan Monroe gets his fingertips on that pass from Tunnicliffe. Riverview maintains possession, but those tips are bothersome. They get into your head. And Mercer with a real nice spin move into the lane to his left hand for the finish. Still facing a 21-point lead. Marshall Harris kicks it to Monroe. Monroe gets into the lane.
Great dish.
And a beautiful pass back to Marshall Harris for the finish.
And those two really play well off the pick and roll.
They do.
You can tell they're comfortable and they've played with each other numerous times in that situation.
And Tunnicliffe is bothered by the defensive pressure and ends up turning it over in the corner. Those are the sort of turnovers that Riverview really can't be faced with right now. Looking to come back, they cannot give Grammer extra possessions. They need to be making sure they get a shot on every possession. And we're gonna have a foul. And that's gonna be on Josh Crocker. That's his fourth, I believe.
4 on Josh. That's a bit of a tough call. It almost looked like he was about to travel there, and Josh came in with the hand and got caught with it in the cookie jar.
So David Waller to the free throw line for 2. Looking to extend this Halifax Grammar School lead. He's short on the first. And we're going to have a lane violation on Mercereau. Trying to anticipate against Marshall Harris to try to get that inside position. Waller is good on the extra free throw. Tunnicliffe pushing the ball up the floor, which is a good move to make to try to get it up the floor before the press is on. Kicks it to Quirk, who's off on the 3, and Husband's going to carry the ball up the floor.
And with just under 6 minutes remaining and a 24-point lead, Grammer's still applying some pressure. And you kind of wonder if they're trying to send a message before a potential meeting in a provincial championship here, John G.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised as Husbands gets into the lane for another 2. I don't think.
Layup.
Yeah, I don't think that Grammer is going to lay off one bit today. And we have a nice alley-oop pass there for Keith. And this lead is extended to 28, and it's really starting to get away. I really don't see Grammer taking their foot off the pedal here. I think as you said, this is a potential matchup later in the year, and they're going to want to make sure that they send that message. As Robert Odo is entertaining the crowd, he's done everything this week.
That young man never, ever, ever ceases to surprise me. There's still a lot of excitement in the crowd here, John G.
We have a little t-shirt toss action going on.
It's like Ben Carney coming back after his he had to miss last night's game with the flu.
Ben Carney, a real up-and-coming Beck Bear.
The future is bright for the Bears.
Yeah, some real solid young players coming through over the next few years. Ben having a great time throwing t-shirts into the stands. It looks like he may have snagged one for himself because he's wearing the same t-shirt that he's throwing out.
Ah, good thinking.
Can't say I blame him.
Can't say I would do the same thing. I actually saw those t-shirts earlier and I tried to grab one, but they're all youth sizes, so.
It's not going to work for you,
right? No, it's not going to work. No, that's right.
All right, so let's see if Riverview can stay poised here as Tunnicliffe with a long 3 that's well off. Husbands pushes the ball. And back to Husbands from Crowther, and a real nice pass across the lane to Oscar Brown. And we're going to have him
shot block there.
Have him step on the line, and the ball's going to go back to Riverview. Ben McDonald entering the game for Colby Tunnicliffe. I believe that's his first time off the floor.
That's his first time on the bench tonight, that's right.
And as you said, Riverview may look to sit guys if they feel like this is an unwinnable game, because they're going to have a good shot at a good showing at provincials this year.
That's right.
And any sort of an injury or anything like that would just be devastating right now. But I mean, that's the coach's discretion. They would know best whether their players feel like they can come back in this game and what they can handle.
That's right. And you don't, as a coach, you don't want your players to think that you're giving up on it. But at some point, you do have to be smart and look ahead. And actually, you see that right now with Grammer as Ryan Monroe takes a rest, and you see a few other subs come in now. Husbands being one of the only 2 starters remaining in the game for the Griffins.
So with that foul, we're going to have a bonus situation, and we'll see Gareth McKinnon go to the line for 2 free throws. And he makes good on the first.
It'd be quite intimidating up in a lonely feeling place on the line in a game of this magnitude, John D. They seem to handle it pretty well.
It takes some mental strength to block that out and focus on your routine. As we see David Waller attempt the three, but he's off, and Riverview is able to rebound the basketball. And Mitchell Mercero taking the ball up the floor, driving into the lane, kicks it to Dylan Quirk, all the way around to the weak side, and back to Ben McDonald for three, who's able to knock it down.
Riverview getting a little something from the fresh legs here.
As Husbands is moving that basketball, it's just zipping around for Grammer at this point.
Grammer views three sides of the floor on that possession. Beautiful basketball.
Eventually ending up in the hands of Jonah Crowther, who gets into the lane for the finish. Riverview looking to cut into this sizable lead. And Quirk for three, and that's good. And it looks like Halifax Grammar is going to take a timeout here to get some subs in.
Get a little recognition for this.
Get some recognition for their players, and as you said, get his main guys off of the floor for this final stretch, being up by 22 points.
So we've got
a little bit of confusion here.
I don't think it's a timeout, Changi. I think it's
just a sub.
Just for subs.
He did look for a timeout, but he must have called it off.
Yeah, so both Riverview and Halifax Grammar School have 2 timeouts remaining with 3 minutes left in the game.
And it looks like Riverview is
a 22-point lead for.
It looks to me like Riverview is going to take
Grammar.
O'Rourke and Crocker off the floor in a moment.
And that's wise at this point. And you know those kids are giving their heart and soul all week, John Gee, as they do all season. And like you said, you just don't want to risk an injury. You got to set your sights on looking forward from now on.
And with that being said, Elliot Cashin comes off of the bench to knock a three down.
Rainbow three.
As we spoke about earlier, Grammar goes to their bench, and it's not your typical high school bench. They go to their bench, and they're bringing players onto the floor that are quite skilled.
Yeah, and McKinnon dragging the pivot foot there. You'll never sneak that one by veteran referee Paul DeBailey. Not even after a late night at the KOC.
No, that's why they saved him for the championship game, Greg. The championship officiating crew here.
The Grammar has emptied the bench at this point, along with
They
Riverview.
emptied the bench, but I don't expect them to hold up. You're still going to see the threes flying, I believe.
Cashin nails another one.
Cashin with back-to-back threes.
Oh, and he's feeling it.
He's excited.
It's a big smile on his face right there.
McDonald is going to try to answer. He's wide right. As we're under the 2-minute mark. It's looking more and more like Grammar is going to come away with this one.
Yeah, you got to feel this game is out of reach now. It's 28 points with 1:45 left.
At this point, players...
Riverview's basically conceived, and they've got the starters on the bench, and they're looking forward to provincials, right? And they'll get another crack at these guys.
And there's absolutely
God willing,
and there's absolutely no shame in their showing this week. They played, and Cashin is looking to go 3 for 3 and is off. But Riverview played fantastic this week, and there's no shame in this loss.
No, absolutely not.
And a silver medal at Coal Bowl. The best local finish at Coal Bowl since the Beck Bears won it.
2016.
In 2016 and 2009. So there's absolutely no shame in that as Grammar looks to hit another three. They're just firing away from the three-point line at this point. Riverview comes away with the rebound. But Riverview at this point is playing for a little bit of pride. So they want to...
You know, Riverview's got some tough games next week against Sydney Academy to decide the region, and then one of those teams will go to a qualifier. And you got to figure that, you know, potentially both those teams could be in provincials and playing against, you know, getting another shot at Grammar, and obviously Dartmouth High will be in the mix.
And you know what? This experience against Grammar, despite the losses, means the world. Have that familiarity with the teams that you're playing against. They know what they're facing. They know what, you know, for the most part, what to expect.
And they can prepare properly.
And that goes a long way, exactly. They're well scouted at this point.
So as long as they're healthy, they'll get another shot, and I think that's the main thing. So looking forward to that.
Nice little cut into the lane here.
So, Jean-Guy, who's your pick for MVP?
Oh, wow. MVP. I'd have to say I'm looking at Monroe or Husbands.
I agree. It seemed like
I think I would lean towards Monroe. He had a couple of big games, but Husbands has been very consistent.
Husbands has been incredibly consistent all tournament, and Ryan Monroe, just with the performance here in this game, particularly on the defensive end, and then what a few nice assists as well as spreading the floor with a couple of three-pointers.
And I believe earlier in the week he had a couple of real big games where he was pretty lights out from the three-point line.
Yeah.
But it would be a hard decision because Husbands has been fantastic as well. I wouldn't really want. I don't think I'd want to be making the decision actually.
No, I think either or. One is going to be MVP and one is going to be a first-team All-Star. Similar to the situation we had with Jacob McNeil and Gary McDonald back in 2016.
It could have been either one of them.
It was a coin flip, right? I don't think either will be disappointed. After all, there's only one score that matters, and that's the final team score.
That's right. With that, Halifax Grammar School is your 2019 Coal Bowl Classic champions. A fantastic tournament played by them, and they're going to celebrate and enjoy this. And we're going to sign off, Greg, and it's been a great week of basketball, another great week, and we're looking forward to next year's Coal Bowl.
Yeah, congratulations to the Griffins, and thanks to the organizers on a great tournament.